Chase is over. Trev's Hockey Show. I'm the Trev. That's too sweet. Anyway, we're finally here. Finally. I mean, if you take into account, if it weren't for the big one, the 2012-13 lockout, and 2 shortened seasons, thanks to, being in a bubble, we may have been here much sooner. But fate works in weird and strange ways, and, I can vouch for this on my own. But the important thing is we're here now. Now, the point I'm trying to make is we have a new career goals leader, and a record that was thought to be as untouchable. A big Wayne Gretzky record has been broken. So today, we're going to stop making the annual Ovechkin to 894 videos. After 6 videos, we're good. So now, we can make the one and only Ovechkin at 895 video. So let's talk about it. Alright, so what we're going to do here is more or less just talk about how we got here and point out some of the important or the highlight goals along the way, but we'd be remiss if we don't discuss what could have been. I'm talking about the big one, the 04-05 season. If it weren't for that and the way it played out, and there was actually a season, there's no reason to imagine, we wouldn't have made that team that year, and, probably would have been the odds-on favorite for the Calder. But alas, it is what it is, and we had to wait a year before we got to see a rookie showdown between 2 #1 picks, both generational talents at that, but hey, that's not necessarily a bad thing now, is it? So, goals 1 and 2 both came in Game 1 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Your Trivial Pursuit answer is Pascal Leclerc, where Ovechkin became the first player in Capitals history to score twice in his NHL debut. Now, his second goal was also his first game-winning goal. So it's important to note that. Goals number 28, 29, and 30 came on January 13th, 2006 against the Anaheim Ducks. Your Trivial Pursuit answer is Jean-Sébastien Giguère. That was his first career hat trick, but more satisfying. Goal number 32 came on the exact same night as goal number 31, which was 3 days later on January 16th, 2026 against the Phoenix Coyotes. Now, this is memorable for being the goal. The one where he tumbleweeded around himself, still had control of the puck and managed to slip it past Brent Johnson. And even had Gretzky looking on at the replay at the jumbo screen as he was coaching the Coyotes at the time. He was probably thinking the same thing everybody else was thinking. Probably one of, if not the greatest goals ever scored of all time. So goal number 50 came on April 13th, 2006 against the Atlanta Thrashers. And that made Ovi the 4th and to date last rookie to score 50 goals in a season. Goal 52 came 4 days later against the same Atlanta Thrashers. Now that would be what he would finish his rookie campaign with, which is the 3rd highest amongst rookie records. Goal number 100. Now that came pretty early in his 3rd season, on October 27th, 2007, doing so against the New York Rangers, So in between goals number 100 and 484, which we'll get to, and I'll explain why 484 is so important, Ovi would set all kinds of milestones and highlights, including, but not limited to, most goals in a season by a left winger, bowling through goalies with one hand on the stick, and still managing to make that count, the hot stick, lots of one-timers from his spot, 3 straight 50-plus goal seasons. His 500th NHL point was also on a goal against, you guessed it, New York Rangers, and also becoming the Capitals' franchise leader in goals. So now that we're here, we can talk about number 484. Now that came on November 9th, 2015 against the Dallas Stars. Now that goal made him the highest scoring Russian-born player of all the times, passing Sergei Fedorov. And naturally, number 500 came not long after that, happening on January 10th, 2016 in a 2-goal game against the Ottawa Senators, making him the 43rd player in NHL history to hit the mark, the 5th fastest to do it in only his 801st game, and more importantly, the first Russian player to attain 500 goals. His 1,000th career point came on a goal scored against the Pittsburgh Penguins on January 17th, 2017. And one had to know, .1000 was always going to be a goal. One couldn't imagine Ovechkin scoring .1000 on an assist. Ironically enough, he would start the 2016-17 season and the 2017-18 season, much like a mirror of one another. as he'd score a hat trick in both opening games, becoming the first player in 100 years to record opening day hat tricks in back-to-back seasons. He'd break the overtime goals record on October 21st, 2017, and become the Capitals' all-time hat trick leader on November 25th, 2017. And then he scored number 600 against the Winnipeg Jets on March 12th, 2018, becoming the 20th player to hit 600 and the 4th to do so in fewer than 1,000 games. And it's about at this point when I first asked the question, can Ovi hit 894? The video's right there. His 21st career hat trick came on December 11th, 2018. The importance of that is he passed Pavel Bure for the most hat tricks scored by a Russian player. So it's interesting to note here too, from January 1st, 2010 to December 31st, 2019, the entire decade of the 2010s, Ovi had scored 437 goals, which was the league leader in the 2010s. He had scored goal number 700 on February 22nd, 2020 against the New Jersey Devils, making him the 8th player to record 700 goals. And he also scored his 275th power play goal on December 31st, 2021, which broke the all-time power play goals record, which ironically enough was not held by Gretzky. And then we move into third place on the all-time goals career leader on March 15th, 2022, scoring goal number 767 in 477 fewer games than the former third place holder, which was Jaromir Jagr. He'd score his 50th goal of the 2021-22 season on April 20th, 2022, make it the 9th time he would record 50-plus goals in a season, which tied the record that he now shares with Wayne Gretzky and Mike Bossy, but more importantly also made him the oldest player to record 50 goals in a season. Goal number 787 came on November 5th, 2022, breaking the record of goals with one team and broke the most goals on the road with 403 on November 29th, 2002. Goal number 800. And this is where we start, crunch time. It came on a hat trick against the Chicago Blackhawks on December 13th, 2022, making him the third player in league history to record 800 goals, with goal number 802 coming 10 days after that, which put him solely in second place and 92 goals behind Wayne Gretzky. So along the way to 894, Ovi kept the records coming, scoring his 13th 40-plus goal season on March 21st, 2023, his 57th career empty netter on February 10th, 2024, and scores 18th 30-plus goal season on April 9th, 2024, which takes us to this season. Now, he'd score a goal against the Utah Hockey Club on November 18th, 2025, which saw him score at least one goal against every team he's played against in his entire career, not counting the Atlanta Thrashers and all that, every team that's relocated and whatever else since, which I think has only been one or two. February 23rd would see him score his 32nd career hat trick, making him the first player in league history to score 200 or more goals in 3 decades. Again, consistency here, which takes us to 894, which scored on April 4th against the Chicago Blackhawks, giving him his 14th 40-plus goal season. And finally today, April 6, 2025, on a wicked snapshot on the power play from his usual spot from Tom Wilson and Dylan Strome, high side against Ilya Sorokin at 7:26 of the second period to score goal number 895 of his career. Now, of the 183 goalies that Ovechkin has scored on in his career, this was the first time he would score against Ilya Sorokin, if one can believe that. Now, he scored the most goals against Marc-Andre Fleury with 28, followed by the King, Henrik Lundqvist, at 24. In terms of teams, as of right now, he has scored the most goals against the Winnipeg Jets with 57 in 75 games, followed by the Carolina Hurricanes and the Philadelphia Flyers with 52 each. So, to paraphrase, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Ovi, he's the man. So, Gretzky held this record for 31 years. Ovi broke the record in 20. 895 came in just as many games as Gretzky's 894. That should speak to the amount of commitment you need to break this record. And now there's the greatest goal scorer of all times. Now, one has to wonder, how much more gets added to this record? I mean, the opportunity to be the first and only player so far to reach 900 is just around the corner, like 5 goals away. And as for how long this record stands, well, it could be some time. I mean, the quote-unquote experts used to say a record like this was untouchable. Yet here we are. So for the player that does break this record, when does that player come along? Or is this a player amongst the crop of players that are playing in the league right now? Now, I'm not going to say this one is untouchable because, well, we've proven that it's been touched. But to be the player to break wherever Ovechkin stops this record at, by judging by Ovi's goal totals over the years, including this one, consistency is going to have to be the key. Like, there's a 60-goal season in there. There's 850s. There's 540s, including, his total at this current moment. And with his lowest goal total in a season being 24 in 45 games, a bubble season, one's going to have to be no lower than 30 goals for the next 20 years. Or, if there's another natural goal scorer that comes along this way, at minimum, 40-plus goals every season for the same amount of time. Now, that's a hypothetical. I haven't done the proper math on it, but if you apply Steiner math, it could work. But this is also dependent on a number of X factors, too. And again, to think where Ovi would be if there weren't a big one, if the 2012-13 season didn't have a lockout, and if there wasn't 2 bubble seasons. But you have to remember, too, Gretzky also had to deal with the 94-95 lockout, which I guarantee you, if that season was played straight through, the total will be well over 900. And as I said, fate works in weird and strange ways. So ultimately, it is what it is, but it's neat to think what it could have been compared to what it is. If you just think outside what reality says right now. Now, one knew he was a gifted kind of a scorer when he was drafted first overall. I mean, the Panthers tried drafting him in 2003. We covered it here. But now he's just going to be known as the greatest goal scorer of all time. And that's not a bad title to have at all. I mean, 895. That's your new benchmark. And again, who knows where it stops. Either way, congrats to the GOAT. This is an accomplishment that not a lot of players can say they get a chance to reach. He reached it in 20 years. Here's hoping he builds on this. Here's hoping we get to a 900 and beyond. But ultimately, it's up to Ovi from this point. And thus ends the great chase. Says another one of them Trev's hockey shows. I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't think I don't appreciate the gesture, especially if you made it to this point. And if you have made it to this point, I'm totally thankful that you've actually stayed to the end to watch the entire video. I mean, yeah, it's just me talking about Ovi, but hey, Ovi's my boy. I mean, Varley's my boy, but Ovi, he's my boy. But if you've made it this far, if you just want to say, hey, if you just want to say you're digging what I'm doing, I would appreciate that thumbs up. Trust me, it goes a long way. So the more a thumbs up I get, the better it is for me. And if you want to, that red button that says subscribe all over it, come on, you know you want to. I know you want to. The algorithm knows you want to. It'll make you feel good. It'll make me feel good. And we just hit 300. So we're 200 away from where I'd like to be at the end of the year. Goal is, again, 500 by December 31st. So let's help this guy get there. If you want to, there's a link in the description below. That'll take you to my Facebook page. Feel free to join me there. I mean, it's free to join. And I'm posting a lot more there, so I'd love to build an audience. Help that page grow just as well as this one. So moving forward, well, we've still got about a week and a half, 2 weeks to go in the regular season. So when it comes to the regular season, I mean, if I don't put out any more shorts in between now and the end, look for my division prediction reaction to come along with, as well as my playoff predictions. But either way, in the meantime, and in between time, be looking for more videos from Trev. Later.